Mom, have you used your bum wiper yet?
We got a bidet a few months ago, and we discovered that the second fastest way to completely clear a table of children who are still eating dinner is to tell them what a bidet is. They all immediately ran up to the master bathroom to see what it was. In case you're wondering what the first fastest way is, it's 2 months into like the quarantine of March, April 2020, and the doorbell rang. So you might be wondering, like my kids did, what is a bidet and why did we get one? Well, a bidet is a toilet paper alternative, really. It's a way to use water to cleanse what you'd use toilet paper on. The reason we got a bidet is because I had heard so many of my doctor friends and natural health practitioner friends talk about just how wonderful it was. And I heard the founder of Tushy speak, and I was just so curious. I like doing things a little out of the mainstream. And I also love, of course, the idea of saving the trees, saving the earth, right? And as far as preparedness goes, it's kind of nice to know that if the toilet paper runs out, we're still good. Is this gonna work? I kind of had my doubts and I went in really skeptical. But for you today, I would say, yes, it does work. But let's talk about that a little more. So here we are in the bathroom where I love to film my videos. I want to show you how the Tushy works, okay? So it's actually really easy install. My husband did it, but it says it'll take 10 minutes. It honestly did. It's just this extra piece that goes around the hinges here. It starts out squirting down, I guess, to clean it. All right, so point down, and then it's gonna come up to the Tushy. And then it can come harder. Let's talk pro-con. You know at Kitchen Stewardship, I always give brutally honest product reviews, so you're definitely going to hear what I don't love about this. Although, spoiler alert overall, happy with it, would recommend. We'll talk about that more at the end. Huge advantage, you definitely use less toilet paper. So that's less shopping, less expense, less trees being flushed down the toilet. Possible disadvantage? Man, is the water cold. Like, you gotta steel yourself for that. The second level of Tushy, like if you pay more, which we actually did, although I now regret it, actually has a hot water hookup. So now that takes a little bit more install. Like we would have had to cut a hole into our cabinet in order to kind of hook it into the sink. But unfortunately, our master bathroom is as far away in a 2-story house as you can get from the water heater in the basement. So it takes a good 2 to 3 minutes just to get hot water. And I decided that that's, for me, too much water wasted to have to, like I would have to turn on the sink every time I wanted to use the Tushy bidet in order to get the hot water to actually be what hit my Tushy. So we don't use that feature, which is why I would recommend the lower, like level 1, like the original basic Tushy. One thing that's, I guess it's not really an advantage or disadvantage, it's just a truth, is that there's a learning curve for using the Tushy. I really, I wasn't sure how this would work for like front and back parts for women. And what I found is that you really have to wiggle around and sort of figure out your system to get the aim in the right spot. Now, I do love that there are levels of pressure on the Tushy. And so I find that for ladies' front parts, you want to use like lower level pressure because it's just more comfortable. But then in order to be actually effective on the back, you generally need the high level pressure. I highly recommend, at least at the beginning, the single square confidence test. This is what my husband said as he was using it. He said, you know, I didn't trust it at first. So every time I would just use a single square and like check to make sure all the soil was removed. So that's what I would recommend is like over the first few days, do the single square confidence test, get, you know, your rhythm down, figure out how to use it. And then once the single square confidence test has passed time after time, then you don't have to touch the toilet paper anymore. Pretty big bonus. Another truth that I do recommend is having a bum wiper. This is recommended on the Tushy website because like, here's the thing, right? And this is me wondering like, how is this going to work? Aren't I going to be like all wet? And do I just have to sit on the toilet and wait for a minute or two? I don't got that kind of time. So I do have a little washcloth in arm's reach from the toilet and I just use that as, you know, a cleansing cloth, I guess. Just something to keep me dry. And then of course, while I wash my hands, I'm continuing to air dry. If this is TMI, you're watching the wrong review. Now let's talk about what disappointed me about the Tushy Bidet. One of the times in life that I was most looking forward to having water washing my tushy was the menstrual cycle and the woman's period. If you're a woman, you know that time of month, sometimes there's like an odor and you just never quite feel clean unless you've just gotten out of the shower. So I thought, this is going to be great. It'll be like a shower every time I use the bathroom. However, the single square confidence test is a little shaky that time of month. There's just something about, I don't know if it's the angle or if I haven't figured out my rhythm yet. It's only been 2 months. Or if the spray just isn't quite hard enough. I don't feel like it does quite a complete job that time of month. So I still end up using a few squares of toilet paper. And similarly, if you are a wife using natural family planning, you know you have to check your mucus. Obviously, if you're not using toilet paper, that complicates that system. And I have found that the bidet just simply doesn't actually get the mucus away. So little bit of a disappointment there. I'm wondering if I have more of a learning curve. None of those are deal breakers though, because I just use a little bit of toilet paper or like my bum wiper or whatever. Overall, here at the Kimball household, we do recommend, everybody should probably have a bidet. Why? Using less toilet paper is a huge win. And ultimately, I haven't done the math yet, but I would think over the first year or two, you would pay yourself back for the price of the Tushy. Number 2, preparedness. We all saw it in March, April 2020 when there was hardly toilet paper to be found. And so it's just like a nice peace of mind that you would have another option if that were to ever happen again, or you just forget to go to the store, and you've run out of toilet paper. And then number 3, I do think it does definitely keep things a lot cleaner and a lot more fresh smelling. And it's just it's just a fun alternative, to be honest. My kids are starting to love it. My little 7-year-old says, every time I go poop, I'm going to go use the bidet. His pronunciation's a little hilarious. So we heartily recommend the Tushy Bidet, but I wouldn't recommend going for the top tier, the more expensive kind, because all of the adjustments that we've found are helpful at all are in the lower, less expensive Tushy. So that's always great news that you can spend less and get a pretty quality product. You've made it as a blogger when you're hugging your toilet to do a product review.